opinions and feelings on this to represent the whole board, which it does not. I'd like to say this is what's going on in the last week. I don't approve of the Facebook post, but in the same sense, I defend Ms. Ebner's right to do it. And in making these comments, I have to look at it from a Christian perspective. I would not do that. I don't feel it appropriate. And in thinking about this, a word comes to mind in this situation, and it's forgiveness. We go throughout our days, in our daily walk, and as far as I'm concerned, forgiveness will start the healing process in this whole situation. We have a choice in this matter to either forgive or to seek retribution or revenge. And I'd like to share a couple stories with you. Peter approached Jesus and said, "My neighbor sins against me. How many times should I forgive? 7? And Jesus says 7 times 70. And I think of it in the situation that 7 times 70. So after the 490th time, we are allowed to not forgive. But I look at it in this situation that by the time we have reached that 490th time, unbeknownst to us, because we failed to keep track and count, we've developed a manner within ourselves of a way to live that we forgive. And the rest of that story goes and likens it unto a king who takes account of his servants. And he requests the servant to come forward. Yet the king finds out that the servant owes him 10,000 talents. And the king becomes angry to find out that his servant owes him so much. And the king says to him, "You will go to prison for your debt until it is paid." And the servant falls on his knees and begs forgiveness. And out of grace, the king forgives. The servant goes forth and finds one on the street who owes him 100 pence and says, "Pay me back what thou owest." Unforgivingly, that servant sends the other man to prison. And the king finds out and sends that servant to prison. And another story, Jesus is in the temple teaching, and the scribes and Pharisees bringing a woman forth caught in adultery. And he's sitting on the sand, writing something in the sand, and the scribes and Pharisees are pressuring him. What should we do? By law, she is to be stoned. And he's writing something in the sand with his finger. and they keep pressuring him. And Jesus says, he who is among you without sin, cast the first stone. And their consciences, being seared by the truth, they all, one by one, walk away. And he stands up and looks at the woman and says, where are your accusers? And she says, no man, my Lord. And he says to her, yes, indeed, I judge you neither. Now, go forth and sin no more. We have a choice, ladies and gentlemen, to choose between forgiveness or retribution. And also, in finishing, basically, I'd have to say, judge not, lest we be judged for our own sins and iniquities the same way that we judge. We have a choice of choosing forgiveness or retribution. But as far as I'm concerned, the act of forgiveness is the beginning of healing. It sets us free from the pains and travail of being a victim. And I pray in the situation that we have in this building that forgiveness will start the healing process that's necessary. Thank you.